All right. And you might need to click that "Got It" button. All right. So sitting at the front edge of the chair, hands on the thighs there, vertical line intact. Closing the eyes just for a few moments. The power of the gesture of closing the eyes and how it takes our awareness that so often is outgoing, looking here, and when you close the eyes, it turns that around and pours that awareness through the body. So you can start to sense layer by layer what's happening, and initially look at uh, this sort of overall quality in the skin and layers of tissue and muscle. And usually you can feel sort of imbalances. You can feel somewhere where there's maybe some tension and holding, and you want to try and let that soften. You can also feel places where there's collapse or slouching or slumping that's happening, and you want to let that awareness trigger a sort of corrective adjustment. And the idea that we can find a good aligned posture that in a way holds itself up without our needing to grab on, grip, and hold. And then bring into awareness any more subtle qualities in terms of the nervous system. See if you can have this idea of sending a message of ease, a message of relaxation. And one of the best ways to trigger that is with the breathing. So if we were doing a breathing technique, like in yoga, they call it Kapalabhati, where it's sort of like hyperventilation. If we were doing that, it would shift the nervous system into a sort of heightened, active, you might say fight, fight, flight. It would go in that direction. And the opposite is true if we trigger it with long, smooth, sort of relaxation. I think of it like vacation breathing, like how you would breathe if you were on a lounge chair in a tropical paradise and all your problems were dealt with and handled. And that quality of breathing, it would be this sort of indulgent, long, smooth, easy, not rushed breathing. And so by inducing with your mind, choosing to take control of the breath and induce this long, luxurious breath rhythm, that will be a way of triggering this response through the nervous system of everything's okay, you can relax. And when we relax, what happens is the body dilates a little bit at every level. Everything goes a little more open, a little more plump, a little more spacious. So stress is a outside in constriction, and relaxation is an inside out dilation. And so in the practice of Tai Chi, when we're moving, we're in this relaxed state, and that creates this ability to sort of use this hydraulic fluid movement rather than when you're stiff and we're having to use force to move the body. So final, let's just say 8-10 breath cycles, trying to cultivate this state of ease, softness and fluidity, as well as integrity and alignment. There are 4 parts to every breath. The inhale, the full hold. The exhale, and the empty hole. Now, with this relaxed body, we want to keep it in this state, what they call sung in Tai Chi, means soft, supple, pliable, relaxed. We keep that and we start in on our movements. So slide the hands back, elbows back, shoulder blades back, chest and chin up, this soft arching of the spine. So lift that chest and try to create a little bit of a back bend. And then slide the hands forward past your knees. Shoulder blades come sort of around the rib cage there. Drop your head and round your back, opening the back side of the body. And then go the other way. Slide your hands, elbows, shoulders, back, chest up, chin up, look up, arch. And reverse. Slide hands forward, past the knees, chest hollows, head drop. Let's go 3 more. Each of the 24 vertebra joints getting movement at each of those positions. And also a really important part of this is the pelvis, the hips, going through these 2 tips. So here my pelvis is rolling this way. And then as I go into this next position, my pelvis rolls this way, like a bowl being tipped. So I'm tipping my pelvis forward, creating a arch in the back, chest, chin looking up. And then we go the other way. The pelvis rolls and we hollow the front and round. And then slide hands back, elbows back, shoulder blades back, arch. And then now just settle to the middle, right in between. Now the rotation, left hand goes forward, right hand and elbow back, turn the shoulders, the head, the neck, rotation, and then switch. Right hand forward, left hand and elbow back, turning, rotating, looking over the shoulder, and then switch again. Turn, and then switch again, turn. And again, switch. And we switch again. Make sure you turn your head as well, so it's the shoulders and the head all the way up through. So in a way, we're trying to connect an awareness from the base of the spine all the way up to the top of the spine, as well as the pelvis and skull, so that eventually we feel them as one chain-linked network that can communicate from top to bottom easily and thoroughly. Last one. And come back to the center. Arms hang. We softly lean to the right, let the head hang a little, and lift that left wrist up. So that gives us a little more ability to lean and sort of almost like you're going to fall out of the chair, but don't. And then we change, come back across the middle, left arm down, right wrist up, lean, tilt, and gently hang. So again, I think I mentioned this before, the idea of what makes a healthy body. There's a lot of different elements of a healthy body, but one element in terms of movement is transformable or changeable, that we can go all the way to one side and all the way to the other side unobstructed. And the looser we are in that sense of being able to change, the the more in some way, let's come back to the middle, the more we actually are cultivating the correct idea of a middle. So there's the sense of, if I hold on to my body tightly, I kind of have it organized around the middle via tension, but I don't have ability to move. So I'm sort of stiff. And that's what happens to us as we age, as we get stiffer and stiffer. So this idea of loose and free, but still organized around a central pivot. So it's not sloppy and out of control, but it has to have that loose quality. So to continue loosening, let's get our shoulders. So shoulders are connected to these shoulder blades. So we want to bring the shoulder blades apart from each other, separate them, then lift up, then bring those shoulder blades back like you're cracking a walnut or squeezing something, and then slide them down. And then spread the shoulder blades apart, lift them up, bring them over the top and back, and then slide them down. Do it again. Forward, up, over top, back, down. So the same rule applying of healthy shoulders, healthy back, upper back is changeable. So we're not stuck in one position, but we're able to make all the positions that the body is built to explore, we're able to go through them all, eventually unobstructed. But usually what you find when you're doing these mobilization practices are the places that you are stiff. Let's go ahead and reverse. Back, up, over top, forward, down. So usually when you do something here, you might feel stiffness being stretched here. Here you feel maybe some tension in the shoulders that you're squeezing. Come over the top. For me, I feel a little stretch in the middle of the back muscles, and then down. Sometimes you'll come across little barnacles, little stuck adhesions, little glued spots that over time they break up. But then eventually it's just fluid. It slides and glides. And so that's this sort of North Star goal with Tai Chi practice, is a body that glides and slides, easy and smooth. All right. Now, pause there. Bring your legs together. Bring your arms forward. Notice how I didn't lift my arms up at all. They're just forward, but they're out here, out in front. Turn the arms so the backs of the hands touch, and then we sweep the hands out, but not up, around, behind, and then in close to the body, and then again, swing them forward, out in front of the knees, around a big circle, in close to the body, slightly behind you, and forward. Now again, notice here, close. You've closed the front and opened the back. Then you open in front, come around and behind. So now this front area is open. And then we again swing and close the front, open the front, bring it in. Now level 2, close in front, stay closed as you lift. Then open, stay open as you bring the arms down slightly behind you. Then swing them under, close in front and lift. Open in front, stay open as you come down. Close, stay closed. Open, stay open. One more, close, stay closed, open, stay open. And then finally, level 3, close, stay closed, and keep lifting. Now, keep lifting as you open. So just however high you can get so that this whole area is opening, and then stay open as you come down, under, forward, up, over top, down, under, forward, up, over top. And again, the goal, the end result of doing this right is that each round feels a little freer. So focus on that idea if you get that feeling that it's looser and easier with less effort. Now let's reverse. Level 1, come a little bit behind, go out but not up. So I didn't lift my arm up, it's out. Stay out as you come around and then close in front and then swing back. Open, stay open as you come around and then close. Swing back. Open, right? This space here, open. And then as the arms come around, close. Feel that closed quality. And then down. One more. Round. Now level 2. We go open and lift. Stay lifted as you close. Stay closed as you come down, and then through neutral, open and lift. Close. Stay closed. Looser with every round. Open. Slide. It's one of the great feelings of practicing Taoist movement, Tai Chi, Qigong, the sort of Chinese medicine view of how this body can be used, is that you start to feel lighter. You feel, everything just feels easy. And then let's go level 3. Open, lift, keep lifting as you come over top. That just polishes a little more of the edge out. So we're open, we're coming up, over, close, down, under, up and over, close, down, up and over, close. All right, bend your elbows. Elbows flare out and up. So now that we've bent at the elbow, this creates sort of like a cinching point of the tissue. And so then as we lead through our elbows, it helps to open up even deeper layers in the chest, the upper back. So here, and then down. And then bring those elbows around and squeeze them in front. Down. Out and up. Down. Around in front and squeeze. Down. One more. Here we're just opening space, real estate, trying to open up internal space. Elbows back, straight back behind you as much as you can pull them back. Then elbows down, forward with the hands going over the shoulder, and then as much as you can, up, way up. And then elbows forward, down, and back. And then down, forward, up. Once more. Back. So this interior space, opening it up so that the joints and tissues slide and glide. And then elbows down, elbows out, one hand above, one hand below, cross, hug. Hug your own body. And then open. Elbows straight out to the side, then one above, one below, cross and hug. Open, out, switch, cross. Open, cross. Open, and cross. Final time, open, elbows down, out in front, 90-degree angles at the elbows. And then we go palms down, up. So the point here is the forearms. So you notice nothing here is changing, nothing here is changing. And in a sense, nothing here is changing either. It's in between these two bones in the forearm. And so we want to find that that's a pivot, that's a joint that needs to have freedom of movement. And then palms up, hands open, elbows stay in close. Now again, how did we accomplish this? That's external rotation here at the shoulder, chest, upper back area. Then hands come in, elbows flare out and around in front. So look at the shape that this creates in the body, a hollowing of this space, right? Which is very different than if I just bend my wrists and try to touch here. I got to let the elbows come around. So there's internal rotation. And then elbows in, hands out, it's external rotation. And then hands in, elbows out and around, and it's got to round the back and hollow the chest, create this shape. And so that point I was making, a healthy body is a body that can transform shape. It's got to be able to make this shape, and then without obstruction, make this shape. The yin and the yang of it all, the two ends of the spectrum, the going to each pole or each end of the spectrum helps us find the proper middle, the proper pivot. Now stay here in this open position, step your feet wider apart. Left hand up, right hand out here, down a little bit, Marshawn, bring your right hand down. So now this hand comes up and over this rainbow, down, touch. Then reverse that path. So it's this big round movement and it ends up here. And then the right hand up, over top, all the way across, down, up and back. And again, notice there is a natural movement at the hip joint as well as each vertebra of the spine. There's kind of a gentle twist slash side bend, right? There's also this groin area has to open up. And if you just relax the body and try to get to the destination of the movement where you're saying, okay, this hand gets to this hand. The body makes all the proper changes on its own. And it will also help you feel where your body is a little bit stuck and tight. One more each way. And then we're back to here. Then both hands up, cross, one wrist above the other, turn the palms down, and then arms fall right between the legs and separate. So this is folded, closed, internally rotated. Then we cross, come up, and then open. And we're back to this position, which is open, unfolded, externally rotated. And then we come up, cross, roll over the hands, let them fall through and separate. So close them, folded and internally rotated. And then cross, lift, open. So again, the same idea. We want to be able to transform from open and unfolded to closed and folded, and then back to open, unfold, without obstruction, without impediment. And then we go slow enough to really train this subtle quality of precision. So it's soft and smooth and precise. Precise, but not rigid. Last one here. And bring the legs back in. Arms back in. Wrists up over top. Under. Point forward. Roll. Up over top. Under. Over top. Under. Circle. 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 Reverse. Under. Over top. Turn. Down, under. Over top. Turn. And hands up, spread, gather, spread all the fingers as wide as they can go, gather them all back together. Spread, gather, spread, gather, spread, and make a fist. All the way to a fist. And then open, fist, open, make a fist, open, and fist. And bird beak, thumb touch pinky, other three fingers go, and bend the wrist down, and then open and spread back, down, back, down. And relax and shake them out. Scoot back on your chair a little bit so you feel very stable and sturdy. Bring your right knee up and your right heel in towards the buttock. Flex foot and then push. And then retract. Set it down. Other leg. The knee comes up and the heel pulls in like a spring being loaded, and then push away. Reload that spring. Down. Load. Push away. Reload. Down. Load. Push. Load. Down. Load and push. Reload. Again. Load. Push. And down. Now, right leg straighten. Point. Flex. That right foot. Now, invert. Tilt the foot in. Out. Notice the leg doesn't move. The foot does. Circle, in, around, and out. And out, around, and in. And down. Left leg, point, or straighten it, and then point, flex. And then tilt the foot in, out. Leg doesn't move, foot does. And circle, in, around, and out. And out, around, and in. And down. Scoot all the way forward on your chair again, front edge. Step your feet wider apart, but not super duper wide, but pretty wide. And And then let's lift the toes up, both toes, turn on the heels, and create this shape here. Very important shape, which is different than if I just collapse my knees in. This is not good for the knee joint because it's sort of a destabilization here. But when we turn, the knee joint keeps its integrity and we get what we want from the hips, which is this turning in or internal rotation. Then lift your toes and go all the way out. Again, from the groin, hip area, they call this the quad. And then let's turn in all the way. There's a sort of squeezing quality here in the groin, the inguinal crease, the toes are turned in, and then turn out. And then let's turn in, and we turn out, and in again, out, in, and back to neutral. Bring your legs back to hip distance. Now we've just opened this interior real estate here. Hands on your thighs, fold at the hips. Again, the key here is that we're keeping the spine essentially straight, but we're folding at the hip joint and leg joint connection. And then we sit vertical. And then take it a little further, leaning back. And then sit vertical. Hinge. Up. And lean back. Now we'll do 3 more. We're going to add. So with your hands on your legs, as you fold, turn, internally rotate here, and have those elbows kind of wrapping around the front. This helps to really open up where we get bound in the back. And then sit vertical. Arms come back to neutral. Lean a little bit back. 2 more. Sit vertical and fold forward. Turn on the hands, the elbows wrap around. And then we sit vertical and lean a little bit back. And 1 more time. All right. Now, slide your feet back about just a little bit so you have a slightly acute angle rather than a 90-degree. Arms hang loose alongside you here. Keep them loose as you fold from the hips. Let your body weight pour out of the chair, down through the legs to the earth. Stay loose and relaxed as you stand up. So where we get our stability from is not by tensing up the body and holding it, but opposite to that. We relax the body and let the sediment and the body weight go down through the feet, under the feet. They say 3 feet under the feet, right? Keep that in your mind, that you're letting the weight go all the way through and down underneath you, kind of like you're plugging into the earth. And then now, let's fold at the hip crease. And do just this movement a couple of times. Don't sit down yet. Just find the freedom where your legs and hip sockets meet. So you're just letting the butt go back a little, and the torso angle forward a little, and then come upright. Again, so we're finding this movement that, again, shouldn't take any effort. Quite opposite to that, all it is releasing something. It's like allowing there to be this fold. Now, once you create this shape, now just sink. Just fold the parts and sit down in the chair. And then leaning back. And notice now your feet are empty because you're plugging into that root through the chair now. So you're not using your feet to plug into your root. But now as we fold, that's exactly what we are now doing, is we're letting that connection to our root go down through the legs, but we don't want to get stuck in the legs, tightening up everything, because then we're walking on the surface of the earth with stiff stilts, as opposed to loose and relaxed connection, plugged in, energetic connection to the earth. So that's this softness that Tai Chi is talking about. It's saying get it out of your body so we're not walking around on the surface able to fall down. Instead, we're loose and connected to the earth. Let's do 2 more. Sit down, stand up, and see if you can just stay relaxed. Fold and sink and let your butt find the chair. And then you commit to the chair by leaning back, feet are empty. And then you just fold and rise. 1 more, fold and sink. Just easy peasy. So we're practicing ease. Fold and rise. Now, 3 times, don't sit in your chair, but essentially do the exact same thing. Fold, sink, and use this as a way to get your relaxed fingertips to touch maybe the toes or even the floor someday. And then come all the way up. So again, what's key to this is that we are sitting the hips to get lower. We're not just folding forward this way. Where the butt is going back, and then we're folding and sitting and softly rounding the back to try to touch the floor. And then come all the way back up. Vertical. Make sure you get to this vertical line. 1 more. Hip hinge, and then sink. Touch the earth, and then rise. All right, now we're standing. Now again, you'll want your chair still behind you for this one because we're just going to practice this lean a little forward and then to the middle and just a little bit try to let your weight go into your heels, just a teeny bit, right? Don't put yourself at risk, but do find that there's some freedom of movement or some range of motion in the forward and backward trajectory or direction on our feet. So that, because a lot of times what happens is people are so stiff in their feet that we're almost walking as if we have cinder blocks for feet rather than cantilevers. We have these cantilevers which have like this ability for this body up here to have some adaptability, some freedom of movement, right? Rather than stiff, and then we're, again, walking around like we have hooves rather than, you know, these interesting broad feet. So find the breadth of your feet. Now come back to just standing in the middle, and let's do our body weight over to the right leg, where the left leg gets a little bit empty, and then body weight over to the left leg, where the right foot gets a little empty. And then body weight to the right leg, body weight to the left leg. And just again, remember the grabbing onto the body, although at first it seems like that's giving us safety, and in a way it is, right? It's keeping us contained. But what it's also doing is training us to be less fluid, less free. And then with regards to Parkinson's, that tension, and then when the nervous system is acting up, that creates a lot of the dyskinesia or the freezing or the very slow movement. And so if you go in this other direction of saying, okay, I'm going to release that, I'm going to train myself to find the connection to the earth with an ease, with a soft quality, then you're really starting to practice Tai Chi. Now, that should help us find the middle, get to where your weight is in both legs somewhat evenly. And let's do our Tai Chi. So first movement is rising hands. Hands are loose and relaxed. Forward and up. Like you're painting a wall, and this is the paintbrush, and you're kind of brushing up the wall, right? And then hands switch a little bit, and now it's as if the fingertips, like the fingertips are painting. Fingertips painting. Back down. Loose. And again, as if painting that wall. And the joints do a little change, and then as if painting that. We're going to do 3 more. See if this round can be even easier than the last. And so, Marjan, what you did there, you went like this, and you're lifting with this higher than the rest of the arm. And watch how mine don't have that quality. The arms are kind of internally rotated, and there's space all through here. And then that space is where you see that, if you can see it in my joints, this change happens, right? Down. And so eventually this light quality comes from the fact that the arms are floating because of this spacious quality through here, rather than effort in my arms. And down. Now, as you come down, the hands scoop right in front. Same idea of that looseness. Wrists are relaxed. Drop those wrists. Let the hands hang and float open and up. And let's just hold this shape for a moment and see if you can release any excess tension here and here, and just let there be open, loose ease. And then that little switch of the position, and the hands sweep down and under. It's called the crane. Opens its wings. Open. Get to the top, pausing for a moment. Release any excess grip or tension through the shoulders, the chest, the upper back. And then sweep down, under. Again, open. Open. And one more. Now, sinking chi to belly. Wings. Rotate your arms, palms up. Bend at the elbows. The hands just fall right into that space. And then let those hands just fall down through that space, all the way to completely straight and relaxed arms. They float out to the side again. Wings. Roll, palms up. Bend at the elbows, hands come over top. And then they just fall through that space in front of you and totally release and hang. Again, wings, roll, fold. And just focus in on the idea that this can be easy. Easy. So this is just floating, sort of anti-gravity or levity. Roll, fold, down, through. Now the opposite of that, bring the backs of the hands towards each other and float up in front, close to your body. And then just open and roll, and the palms get all the way out. And by the time they get out here, the palms should be facing the floor. And then they just slide. And then a little internal rotation, backs of hands facing each other, and up. And then open, over the top, out. And then just fall through that space. 2 more. Closed in front, staying closed as you come up. And then just opening and rolling down. Backs of hands towards each other, close, rise up. Open. Embrace the moon, wings. Turn right palm up. As it comes up over top, left hand sweeps down under, bottom and top, and then together, apart from each other, around. up over top, under. They come towards each other to meet at the middle. They go away from each other to get to the top and bottom and around the far side of a circle, under and over a big circle, and then down and up till they meet at the middle. And around. So this is asymmetrical movement that right away adds an element for the brain and the nervous system that's just very healthy. Forces the brain to be able to control the complexity of two body parts moving separate and different from each other, and yet still feeling the connection. Being able to manage that. Now, both arms down, palms underneath, up. Turn the palms over, down. Now, this one, we add this quality of rising and settling through the entire body. So, as your hands come up here, straighten your legs, almost locking your legs. Lift up through the chest, sort of like you're trying to lift off the ground, but see if you can keep a quality of connected to the ground, right? So you're not actually unbalancing yourself. Turn the palms over, and then here, settle the body. Settle. So here, there should be a slight little sink through the legs, a slight little sink through the tail, but we're not squatting down in any way. We're just settling through the tissue and letting everything sort of like dripping off the body through all the way to the earth. So these two energies of pung or rising, like the energy of fire, and then an, which is the energy of water, how water naturally by its nature just finds the low. So we go rising, pung, but we don't want to lose that quality of groundedness, and then on, soft, sinking, settling through the body, totally released, and then pung, rising, and then sinking, totally released. Again, pung or rising like fire, and on or settling like water. Bring the hands up halfway, elbows back, turn your palms forward. Now this energy is called G, or it's forward expression. All the way out to the tips of the fingers. Then turn the hands so the palms face your body. And then this is called Lu, or guiding back, which is different than grabbing something and pulling it back. This is guiding something back that's already going this way. And then the same thing with the push. This is pushing something that way that's already going that way, and we're just moving it along its way. And then this is guiding something back. So in martial arts, that's what Tai Chi is focused on doing. Let's say in a conflict, it's saying, I'm not going to fight against the direction of energy that, let's say, my opponent is trying to go. Instead, I say, you want to go that way? You go that way. Or if they're trying to come in, you're saying, oh, come right in. And in Tai Chi, they would turn and be able to send somebody off and all of this. But this idea of just going right with the flow, just go with it and go with it. But the key is, can you keep your middle? So that when you go this way, you're not going over your skis and falling forward, or when you're drawing back, you're not leaning back and falling back. Everything's organized around your middle. Now, turn the left hand forward, push, just the left hand. One push, one draw, and then turn that left hand, turn your right hand. Now it's one Lu, one Ji, and then switch hands. This is called Liye, or splitting, which is one Lu, one Ji. one drawing back, one going forward. Wu, Qi. And this one's really great because it helps us naturally. Again, just if you relax your body, you might notice you're already turning and turning. So it's inducing a freedom of movement of our central pivot. And this central pivot is what gets people in trouble as we age. It freezes, it gets stuck and sort of calcified. Lower back pain is one of the #1 complaints of human beings as they're aging. And a lot of that is, from the Taoist viewpoint, a stiffening of this pivot, of this turn, right? Turn, the freedom of movement that we want to cultivate. All right, now both hands back, both hands down. Now remember we did earlier, change the weight to the right leg. So the left leg is kind of empty. Change the weight to the left leg, so the right leg. Remember this idea of change. A healthy body can change full, empty, and then change full, empty. Now remember your pivot, your movable pivot. So change your weight to your right leg and turn from that movable pivot a little bit to the right and sweep the hands across. Now turn your left hand and right hand, so they're both facing now to your left. Change your weight to your left leg and then turn from that pivot, brush knee, sweep leg. And then turn the hands. And then we go change weight to the right leg first, then turn from that middle pivot, and then brush knee, sweep leg. And then change leg, turn from middle pivot, brush, sweep. Hands change their rotation and shift and turn, brush, sweep. And they change again. So if we're doing it correctly, each round ideally is addition by subtraction. We're sloughing off somewhere that we're grabbing the body. And so then that loosening process increases range of motion. So as I have less rigidness in my tissue, my hands will start to naturally sweep a little more, explore the space a little bit more. And so then eventually it becomes, as you can see, my hands have changed over time here, what you could call the bear swirls the stream. So whereas at first I was close to my body here, now this outside hand starts to really travel around big circles, right? And still further loosening creates more levity and buoyancy in the body. So now that right hand, bring it up. This is called the bear swats the jumping fish, right? And so this would be that middle jumping fish, right around chest height, arm falls, and then sweep. And then that right hand will come down, the left hand will rise up. And so you have one down low, brush knee, and one sort of midway up, swat the fish, and then they change. And so again, this key of complete freedom to change. Whereas at first, what you see with people doing the practice is kind of like this. It's like everything's kind of stuck in this little place, and there's not a lot of change. What we want is this big, clear changing of high and low, left and right. All the while, however, not losing your middle pivot. So we're not throwing ourselves off balance by being loose. In fact, the looser we are, the more we're finding this central pivot from which everything is controlled. Let's go the higher jumping fish now. The hand comes up as this hand is low. So have this really interesting separation between the two. And then the right hand going low, the left hand coming high. And again, these polar opposites, just like the yin-yang symbol of black and white with the middle pivot, We want to be that. We want to be this controlling pivot that allows for the complete freedom of yin and yang, up and down, left and right, forward and back, to be able to explore unhindered. And stay in your, let's bring both hands down. And then let's do this golden rooster to finish. So change your weight to your left leg, right leg free. Turn on the ball of the foot and have the heel in, the toes out a little bit. So this position, change your weight to that leg and let the body weight go down through it. So it's spring-loaded and supporting you. And now your left foot empty, get to the tippy toe and take the toe out and touch the floor in front of you. So if I turn sideways, you can see it's just this little toe touch. And notice I'm not going here. I'm not putting my body weight into this leg. The goal is, can I free up this foot to have it just pop out in front a little bit and be empty? Then bring this leg back, heels match, toes turned out, kind of a ballet turnout, and then change your weight over to this, your left leg. Empty right foot, can you just let it touch the floor out in front? So again, it's just going out without being stuck to my body weight. So I just go boop, out, and then bring it back, right? And then we change. The left foot being free, touch the toe, bring it back, change. The middle stays the same, but the legs are changing full and empty, full, empty. Because one of the number one problems, according to the Tai Chi view, is what they call being double weighted. So you can be double weighted and still standing on one leg, but you're double weighted because they're both the same level of tension and density. Versus here, you have one that, again, it's still relaxed, but it's taking the weight down to the earth. And then this one is absolutely loose, free as an arm might be, right? And then we got to change that. So now this becomes that sturdy mountain, and this becomes the cloud, light. And then you bring it back. Change. Make sure you don't prematurely try to step the foot out. Wait until that differentiation has happened, full empty. Then it's free to touch. Let's do a few more just to finish with added hands. So change your weight to your left leg. Left hand, fingertips touching the surface of the water. Bend your right elbow, pointing right fingertips up, and just float that toe out in front, empty. So it'll look like this. One full, three empty. Then bring your right foot back, no body weight. As you change the weight to your right leg, right hand descends, left hand, elbow bend, and fingers point up, and the foot floats out to touch the earth out in front. One full, three loose and empty, right? Now bring your left foot back. As you change the weight, left hand down, right hand up, and right foot float in front. Bring the foot back. So we'll do about 3 or 4 more each side, slow enough that you can track with your brain this sort of like little puzzle or challenge of, can you time it so that the one coming down and the one going up and the foot all arrive on time. Bring the right foot back. As you change, you're coordinating hand down, other hand up, and foot empty and out. Bring the foot back. So like Marjan, what just happened for you is you dropped your left hand completely, then you changed the weight, then you brought the hand up, and then you moved the foot. You see the difference there, as opposed to slow, so that there's a rising and a sinking. The hands are going at the same time, and one didn't just get there while I'm still moving this. So that's where Tai Chi becomes this really interesting challenge for the brain and nerves. Slow, 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 tracking, 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 and arriving together. Bing! The foot comes back with no body weight so that I can change the weight while bringing the hands, while emptying the left foot, and then arrive. Let's do 2 more each side. The foot comes back, nothing changes. And then we shift, everything changes. Arrive. The foot comes back, nothing changes. Then the weight change, the hands change, and the foot change together. 1 more each side. The foot comes back, nothing changes. Then everything changes. Foot comes back, nothing changes. Shift the weight, everything changes. Great job. Bring the foot back, hands come down. Wings, roll, fold, settle. Rest right in front of the stomach, palms facing the body. And then we go hands together. Rub the back of one hand, palms, rub the back of the other hand, palms, quad or groin area, so genital area in the middle, the crease on either side, up and down to clear out congestion that happens here, the inguinal crease where hernias can happen and things. We want to make sure that we actually keep that area open and fluid. And then front of the hips. So notice now I'm not going down and up, but now I'm going around and back. So that's hip flexors, the front. And Janet, make sure you're kind of just going very small. Notice how I'm coming all the way in front, all the way out. And I know you got your pockets. You don't want to get your finger caught in your pocket, but there's a big range. And this is something they say happens with us as we age. We start to only move in small ranges. So these self-massage practices also help us find range, big movement. And then we go to the tail, up and down, right on either side of the tail, up into our lower back muscles. And then like you're going to do one of those squats, essentially do a squat, the butt goes back, sit the butt a bit, sweep the hands down the outside of the legs, all the way down, around, and up the inside of the legs to the navel, all the way to the navel, the belly. And then relax the arms. Left hand comes up the outside, turn that arm palm up, down the inside and off the fingertips. Turn the palm down. Up the out, turn, down the inside. Up, down, up, down. Switch. Up the outside, turn, down the inside. Turn. Up the out, down the in. Up, down, up, down. And then one more time, wings, roll, fold as a closing gesture, just settling all our energy that we sent out while we were doing practice. We invite it back into the central battery, which again, they say, and Western science is starting to find some of this to be very verifiable, that the gut, this area here, is like a second brain. It's a production factory. It's very important. There's a sort of wisdom here, but it also acts like a battery. So let's settle everything, seal the practice, hands over the belly. And then finish. All right, thank you so much, you two, for being here. Taoist bow, thumb, fold. Thank you. If there are any questions, feel free. Otherwise, you can just wander off and.
Well,